Hey guys, Frank White here, your virtual general aviator. And today I got a special treat, do something a little different. Excuse me. Today I am going to fly VFR on purpose into some clouds. Now, primarily just to show you how tough this can be. You might think that flying into clouds is something that's really easy to do, but in reality, let's see, turn my engine, adjust my engine sounds a little bit. In reality, flying into clouds is really a killer. In fact, flying in the clouds is really the number one killer of yeah, trying to make sure I got sound is really the number one killer of VFR pilots more than pretty much anything else. So let's get this party started. All right. So a lot of streamers, I'm sorry, a lot of YouTubers um, will jump in jets and learn the IFR procedures and just rely solely on the the autopilot to get them through conditions that are tough for pilots. But really and truthfully, in order to fly in those conditions, you really need to have the instrument rating. And part of getting the instrument rating is to they force you to fly the aircraft by nothing but instruments until you become familiar with operating the aircraft using nothing but instruments. And that turns out to be a little bit more difficult than at first glance it may seem. Okay, so let's get this guy started. I am going to forego the checklist. I got both tanks, yep. So that should be enough priming. And crack the throttle a little bit. And prop clear. Let people know I'm about to start the aircraft. And I got a good start. Okay. So, got a good start. And see if I can adjust myself in the seat a little bit. Okay. And I'm at KRDU, which is Raleigh-Durham. So let me go ahead and just get the ADAS for Raleigh-Durham. I know I don't necessarily need it, but I do want to go ahead and adjust my altimeter. And the ADAS is 123. Come on. 123.8. Put that in there. And that's on COM2. Field elevation should be about 420 feet, so it should be about right there. The ADAS that I'm coming up with is 29.92, which is probably going to be right since I got custom weather in.
Raleigh-Durham INTL information echo. 1800 Zulu weather. Wind calm, visibility 5, rain. Sky conditions 1600 overcast, 8100 overcast, temperature 14, dew point 11. Altimeter 2992. Arriving runways 05 left, 05 right, 32.
Okay, 2992, which I've already put in the box just now, and we're going to 05. Now, we are on the left side of the runway, so we're going to use 05 left. Traffic global is on, so I should have some traffic that I need to watch out for. I am going to turn the labels off because they can be a little bit distracting, those red labels. And get here. All right. So let's release the brake. And let's put on our taxi light. Beacon light is already on, since it's probably not a bad idea to go ahead and do our strobe lights, which we would do once we get on the runway. Okay. And we got to turn 360, so let's clear to the right, clear to the left, and turn right for not a 360 but a 180. So oftentimes there has been asked, and this is a question that never gets old. People tend to ask this all the time. Does learning to fly in the sim, can someone who can, ooh, man, I got startled, literally. Uh, does flying in the sim, somebody who can fly a sim, can they actually fly an aircraft in real life? And that is a question, like I said, that's that people ask all the time. And the answer to that question is a little bit of yes and no. The sim can familiarize one with an airplane enough so that they can learn procedures. They can pretty much learn how to land an aircraft in the sim. They can learn how to talk on the radio. But what you don't get is the feedback that you would get in real life. Like, for instance, I rarely look outside to look for traffic because, number one, my hat switch is so slow, and number two, that distracts me from where I'm going. Now, there are systems that they got to help with stuff like that, primarily the track IR system that I can put on a brim, and when I turn my head actually turns inside the sim. So that can help that, but I still don't get the feedback. I still have to look at my instruments to determine whether I'm descending, ascending, climbing. Um, I When I'm landing and I transition from a downward attitude to straight and level or slightly upward, I can't feel that. So the cues that I get, I have to get directly from the sim. And also the views out of the sim are not quite as real, are not quite realistic. I mean, um, So, so some things, you know, the authors of the aircraft and the simulator try to make things as realistic as possible, but it's not 100%. And when it comes to aircraft, even being 95%, it only takes that 5% to kill you. So, so with that said, you know, I feel like I've never flown the Piper Era in real life. I want to feel like I could get in that Piper Era today and do a cross country, fly it somewhere and land safely. But in reality, I may not be able to, even though I want to feel that way. Okay, so I am at the whole short line at Raleigh-Durham, and um, for this flight, I am not going to make. I never contacted Tower. Don't intend to. Um, do have traffic out there, so let me just look and see if I got any landing traffic from global traffic. I don't see anything. Um, so I'm on the runway now. So I'm gonna turn on my landing lights, turn off that light, turn on my strobe lights. Um, flaps 15, 10%, and not gonna linger on the runway. It's overshot, so let me get lined up. And in this Cessna, you get the firewall, you get to just put full power to take off. Now I'm going to rotate at 65, so airspeed's alive. 65, rotate, and I am airborne.
FSE flight not started.
My Okay, I don't have gear, so my gear is fixed. Turn my landing light off, and at 300 AGL, raise my flaps. Flaps are up, and climb out at about 80. Okay, and my bottoms are just my cloud bottoms are just under 2,000 feet, so I could fly. I actually could fly legally on a day like today, as long as I'm at roughly around 1,500 feet, but because I need to stay 500 feet below these clouds. Um, those are the outer markers that you hear for the airport, and they should stop momentarily. So my plan today is to climb up to about 35, maybe 4,000 feet and fly around, just to see as if I can keep control of the aircraft. Now I should be entering the clouds at any time. And it is often said, now I'm actually looking at the ground to keep me um, pretty much straight and narrow on the straight, keep me in the right direction. Clouds a little bit higher than I thought. Going in the clouds is often referred to as being in the soup. Okay, so I am getting up there. May have to go up a little bit higher than I had intended. Let's take a look outside. Okay, so the clouds are just not super steep. Okay, now I'm starting to lose my ground visibility. So I am definitely now in the soup. So right now, the only thing that I got to tell me whether I'm straight and level is the instruments, but I can still see the ground. So I still need to do some more climbing here. Okay. So the ground looks like it's disappearing a little bit. And I'm at 4,000 now, approaching 4,000. So I would definitely say I'm in the soup now. Okay, so I'm looking at my artificial horizon to keep the plane straight and narrow. Now in the sim, I don't have the tactile feeling to let me know when I think the plane is banking. I've never done this in real life, so I don't know how much I can depend on um, anecdotal tactile feedback to help me stay straight and narrow. So I'm up at 4,500. I think I can still make out in which direction the ground is at. So I'm going to just keep climbing, and then we'll try to change our direction. So right now I'm flying due south. I know 8NC8, which is Lake Ridge, the airport that I trained at, is almost due north of the airport. So I am going to add a little trim out I am going to trim out the mixture, and don't have a lot of fuel. Okay, looks like I am in a turn. At least I thought I was. Okay, so I am still relying solely on the artificial horizon. That's that blue and brown dial straight ahead of me. Brown represents the ground, blue represents the sky. And okay, so let's go ahead and see if we can't level out at 6,000. Okay, so we're approaching 6,000. Nose over some. Now I'm in a slight turn, which I don't want to be. All right, pull my power back to 23, which is already there. And I don't want to dive towards the ground, but I don't want to chase that needle, um, the needle that's swinging back and forth. That's my vertical speed indicator, and I don't want to chase it. So right now I'm doing a good job holding the aircraft straight and narrow. I don't see there. I'm actually flying down, and I want to stay wings level. So I am climbing. So right now, um, I want 6,000 and I want to hold it there. And now I'm flying 120 degrees, and I really hadn't started a turn. Okay, so, but I do have to rely on my vertical speed indicator to know if I'm flying up or down. Okay, I'm starting to turn back to the south, which I hadn't intended to do. Okay, so now if I found myself in real life in these conditions and I'm not trained for it, then okay, I tell you what, let's make it simple. Well, let's try to find RDU. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to turn to the north, and if I turn to the left, I'm more subject to get to the north quicker. So I want to make a left turn. I want to hold it at 6,000. And so I'm playing with that yoke, watching that vertical speed indicator. Pulling back on the yoke, now I'm pushing it forward, back, and I am turning. Okay, I'm losing altitude. I want to hold at 6,000. And I'm doing a real gentle turn, as gentle as I can make it. And north is coming up on me. So now I want to nose over and straighten up. Okay, so I should be straight and narrow. I should be about wings level right here, flying to the north. Very good. Okay. Now let's get outside the aircraft and let's see what we look like. Yep, look like on wings level. Starting to go down a little bit, so pull it back slightly on the yoke. And looks like I've got some fog building up on my windows, so let me pull those out. Ice and eels, aircraft ice and eels modeled on this particular aircraft. Okay, so let me see if I can turn that. And so I am flying back towards RDU. Okay, so I don't intend to land. I'm not doing bad at holding my altitude, but now I'm not flying north anymore. So let me get rid of that because it's a distraction. And I want to turn to the north, hold that altitude. All right. And I am doing excellent. Excelente. Okay. Excelente. All right. So I am descending. I want to hold 6,000. So I'm trying to adjust my trim to put me where I want to be. I'm turning back to the west, towards the west again. Didn't mean to do that. And all right, so let's peel off a little speed here. And if I look at the GPS, the airport is, I'm bypassing the airport. Um, so there again, if I had cloud conditions all the way down to the ground, then I might not be able to land because I wouldn't know where the airport is at. Okay, so I'm trying to compensate and get my altitude back up. Still keep okay. So 8NC8 is to the north of the airport. So let's see if we can't fly near that. Now I keep wanting to lose altitude, and I want to stay at 6,000. Okay, I want to stay due north, and I keep leading off my altitude. So I'm gonna give it just a touch more power. And whoa, I'm turning the wrong way. So this, now I have been in clouds that when they come towards you, they make you, in fact, let me pause the sim here. Okay, reason I paused it is because I want to turn off uh, a weather program that generates clouds, because I think that what it's doing is just putting me um, in the clouds, and I'm not seeing the textures of the clouds, and that is actually stuff